What's up, beautiful creators? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I want to go behind the scenes of a film that I recently DP'd and edited on. But before we get into that, first let's check out the film.
You've never created space for me to experience my true worth. You don't deserve me. To you, I've never been enough. You've never considered me worthy of protection, because that would mean that my life, my joy, my safety actually means something to you. You've never cared to humanize me, to see me as someone worth fighting for. You refuse to acknowledge my pain, failing to ever hold space for my feelings to be validated. It was your greatest desire that I never know this truth, that I am worthy. Despite your efforts to make me small, to silence me, to keep me in the shadows, I know the truth about who I am and what I deserve. I am worthy of being seen. I am worthy of being loved. I am worthy of being heard and supported and cared for and nurtured. I am worthy of knowing that my Black life matters. I am worthy. Black woman, you are worthy.
So moving right into pre-production, Dion is a director as well as a photographer. And so she came to me with this project because it was the first film that she was creating, and she's really big on warm tones, muted tones, and she wanted her work that she does for photography to also be portrayed in film. And so she came to me with a real specific agenda, with a real specific goal in mind, and I love that she was very hands-on and very direct, because it makes my job so much easier. So when it came to her sending me a mood board or storyboard of what she wanted to create, she used Pinterest, being a photographer, to create her mood board. And so what she did was she created a full board, and she found a bunch of photos on the app and she sent it to me. So it was just this full board that I can scroll through to really see the tonality that she was going for, the vibe that she was going for, and even down to the points of different shots where she wanted to implement mirrors. And so as you can see in the final product, we had a mirror shot. So I think her being so direct and specific really helped us focus on the exact shots that we wanted to get during production. This was actually a really small crew. It was a really small budget, and that's okay, because I feel like a lot of times you kind of just work with the different budgets, and knowing how to implement and create based off the various budgets, it's what actually challenges you and grows you as a creator. So it was really just me as a DP and the AC. We both were gaffing. We both were pretty much just trying to get everything that we needed to make sure that we were going on schedule and we were handling things. So he was setting up the camera for me and tripods and all of that stuff. So we were pretty much a one-man band in a sense, because we had to do everything ourselves. He was also the BTS photographer and BTS videographer. So really we was relying on each other to make sure that we were getting it to how we wanted, and lighting and everything was perfect, camera was perfect, and you know, we were ready to go. So we found a place on Peerspace. We went through a couple of them, but we found a place on Peerspace. And if a lot of you haven't heard of Peerspace, it's basically like an Airbnb where you go in there and you can rent out spaces to shoot, you know, your commercials or shoot your films and things like that. So we went through, we found a couple of spaces that we liked, but we decided to end on this huge ranch style house that pretty much had open space. They allowed us to use the ranch as well as the house, as well as they had 2 houses. They allowed us to use all of that space, which was good for us because we had 5 women and we wanted each woman to have their own particular look. And so being able to have a lot of space really helps. The one thing I do want to talk about when it comes to pre-production is the CAD app. So this app is really helpful for me for the simple fact that I was able to go there when we location scouted. I took photos of all the different places that we wanted to shoot at. So whether we wanted to shoot by the horses, I took a picture of that. Whether we wanted to shoot in an open field, I took pictures of that. It allowed me to, one, see the composition. Also, it allowed me to see how the light was hitting into the shot. And the thing about the CAD app, and it's a lot of apps out there that's very similar, but I really like how you can go in, set the camera that you're using, set the lens choice as well that you're going to be using, and you kind of are able to see what you're going to need as far as equipment before you go into production. And so being able to use that app and find your composition and know what equipment's going to work is very insightful. And when it came to the camera setup, I wanted to use my Blackmagic 6K. I also received my Canon FD lens set that I had just purchased from another filmmaker. I received it the day before the shoot, and with that, it gave me every focal length that I feel like I was gonna need. So it gave me the 24, it gave me the 35, the 50, the 85, and I used the Sigma 1835, which I already have, and then I used the Tiffin Pro Mist filter to kind of get the softening, you know, close to what the Canon FDs provide. So the Canon FDs were perfect for this particular shoot because of the vibe that she was going for. She wanted a really soft, vintage kind of feel, and I felt like that's exactly the aesthetic and the characteristics of the Canon FD. It's very soft, but it still has a sharpness to it. Very vintage-like, it's not so digital. And so I was super excited that it came the day before and I was able to use all of these to also just get a feel of how it worked with my Blackmagic. We also rented out the Easy Rig Mini Max that I love and will probably be buying really soon because I use it every time I use my Blackmagic. But that was to really just help distribute the weight because the Blackmagic can get really heavy once you start to rig it up. When it came to lighting, we really only used a reflector, and that was either to bounce the light from the sun, which was our key, or soften the light. Production was pretty smooth. I mean, there was no worries. We got everything that we wanted to get. Again, it was really tough when you only have 2 people in your crew, but I feel like we made it work. Because we had the storyboard, we pretty much just went by that to a T because, you know, I feel like on every set, time gets away from you, even when you're doing things right. And with hair and makeup, sometimes it may go over and you just kind of have to like work with it. And outside of time though, production was pretty sweet. It was really cool. The vibe, everything about it was really cool. Going into this, I knew that I wanted to challenge myself. So I knew I was going to edit on DaVinci. I knew I was going to shoot Blackmagic Raw. I had not really shot in Blackmagic Raw before. This was pretty much my first time. I always shoot ProRes. It's like I'm shooting now, ProRes. And so I really wanted to challenge myself with this and shoot Blackmagic Raw and also edit on DaVinci because normally I'm editing in Premiere. And so with that, post-production was very challenging, but I learned so much. One, I do love DaVinci for coloring. I love how specific you can be with your coloring, how specific you can be with pulling out colors. I thought that was really cool, and it's so easy once you kind of get the hang of it. I really went into it just working the same way, you know, having the same workflow essentially that I had in Premiere, which working on my shadows, my highlights, and my midtones first and going from there. Now with Dion, because she likes the muted tone, anytime I had a little bit of contrast, I had to bring it down. So that was challenging because for me, when I shoot for my own personal work, I do like vibrancy sometimes and I do like a little bit more contrast, but it was really cool, you know, just challenging myself to make sure that I got it to what the client wanted, which is what we all want as editors. But it was challenging because it's completely opposite. So you're desaturating a lot instead of like adding color and things like that. So that was really, really cool. But outside of that, I really do like DaVinci. One thing I will say though, I probably won't use it for editing for a while. I just felt like my editing was slow. It could be because I'm new to it, but I feel like in Premiere, it's just so much more user-friendly. I can do what I need to do. But again, I did like DaVinci and I thought it was really, really cool. I wanted to use Buttery LUTs because I love my Buttery LUTs, but because of how she wanted it colored, I really just went from the raw straight to kind of coloring it in the way that you see now. So it's very warm, it's very muted, and it's no contrast at all. And I actually really, really love it, and it fits her aesthetic so well. So I feel like I accomplished the goal, which is 100% for me personally. So hopefully you all liked. That was pretty much it when it came to post-production. It was my first time really working with a composer and a sound engineer and like learning that workflow and, you know, implementing that as well. So I think overall it was a really good experience because it challenged me, and it's also a project that like is what I stand for. And so I don't know, hopefully you all like it. Let me know your thoughts about the project. Let me know if you guys have any questions specifically. But that was all the behind the scenes. Shout out so much to Seb for being there and helping me and getting this footage and just always rocking. Like this video if it was at all helpful to you. Make sure that you share, subscribe, and I will see you all again soon in the next video. Bye.